So you just heard what Herm Edwards had to say about Jayden Daniels playing when he's healthy. Football players play football, man. That's what they do. He's right, by the way. Football players play football.
That's the nature of the football player. If you're not playing football, are you even a football player?
You're going to hear that a few times in the next few weeks from me. I can promise you that. I will quote the ancient philosopher, Herm Edwards. Although I said Herm Edwards yesterday, and Ryan thought it was the weirdest thing in the world, apparently. And Darius, you did too. It's his name. Did you think that was weird?
Not even a little bit.
In our pre-show meeting today, Ryan's like, you called him Herm Edwards, right? And I'm like, who? Herm Edwards?
The person named Herm Edwards?
That was so strange.
I've just never heard him addressed as Herm Edwards on television. I've just always heard him addressed as Herm.
It's like Steve and Steven, kind of.
Sure. But when you never hear it, it's just weird to me, I feel like.
I've heard him called Herm Edwards a bunch.
For me, it's like you got to look up his Pro Football Reference page. If it says Herm Edwards, then you call him Herm Edwards. But if it's Herm Edwards, you call him Herm Edwards.
Right at the top, it says Herm. That's the one seed.
Right.
But you can modify and say Herman.
I've heard him called Herman as much as I've heard him called Herm.
Have you really?
Yeah.
So I won't co-sign that. I've heard Herm more than Herman, but I think both are well within the realm of fun.
It was as if I was calling him Theo. Ryan was like, you called him Herman Edwards. And I'm like, what, did I call him the wrong name? What did I call him? He's like, Herman. I mean, that's his name. It's like you called Hank Aaron, Henry Aaron. Oh, no. I did?
But this is so different, though. Like you hear that often. I have never heard Herman Edwards. I've never heard it.
I don't know what to say to that. You've never heard that there are 9 Supreme Court justices.
You're right. I haven't heard that.
You know, like Herman Edwards is the person in question. I wish we could have asked him that. That would have been good. Like, hey, when I said Herman, was that weird to you?
Was it weird at all?
I don't like when people call me that. I'm Herm.
Because I would say for me, it's probably 8 Herms, 2 Hermans out of every 10 mentions of his name.
You know who I think called him Herman a lot, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure, is Mike Greenberg. Like, I can hear it in his voice.
On the Subway Fresh Take hotline, he'd call him Herman Edwards?
Yeah, Screeny. I think on the Mike and Mike show, when they would have Herm Edwards on all the time when he was an ESPN analyst, I think he dropped Herman on him. Could be wrong, but I think that's probably where I got it from. But yeah, I think I was probably interchangeable with that a little bit yesterday.
Yeah, I never thought twice about it. I didn't leave going, you know who's a weirdo? Is Grant for calling the man named Herman.
My heart dropped into my, you know what, my nether regions for a second, because Ryan's like, do you know what you called him yesterday on the show? And I was like, oh God, no, I don't. Like you when you introduced him, you said Herman. And I was like, oh,
thank God, it's not a problem.
Oh, I said his name. Okay.
Oh,
wow. I thought he called
him like Purdue's Carson Edwards, undersized point guard.
Yeah, that's right. We got Braylon Edwards on the Subway Fresh Take, whatever that, No, I just called him Herman. But he says he's going to play. He should play because if he's healthy, he's going to want to play, and the team's going to want him to play. And of course, he should play because he's a football player. And what do football players do?
They play football.
They play football. What about the locker room? This was John Keim on with the Junkies on what he thinks the players like Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu and some of the veterans that run the locker room would think about Jayden Daniels playing, not playing at the end of the year.
First of all, there's 6 games left. If somebody is healthy at that spot and you're not playing, then they're not going to play. I think that's a tough look for the locker room, for others. Like, there are a lot of guys out, and I think everybody understands his importance here. He's only played four games this year? I'm losing track of it now, but he hasn't played a lot, and you need reps to get better.
John Keim on the Junks for his Monday appointment after the game. I completely agree with that, by the way. Based on my time on a beat in a locker room for 4 years and just interactions with players, they want rules to be followed by everybody, kind of. I think this is actually relatable.
Uh-huh.
A lot of the time I would say to people, don't compare yourself to football players. Don't try to put yourself in the shoes of an NFL player. It doesn't work comparing the NFL to real life. But I think this is one that might. Imagine in your workplace, your company protecting a buddy of yours from getting sick by saying, hey, late travel, tough night. If CK came to us and said, Danny, we can't afford to have you lose your voice or get sick. We're going to give you 2 days off when you get back from Kansas City. Make sure everything's okay. Grant, we need you in early the next day. I'm kind of going, Wait,
what the hell? What? Yeah.
Danny's voice is more important. You know what I'm saying? I think most people can relate to that. Like, I'm laying my body on the line. Now, there are plenty of veterans, 30 plus years old, 1 year deal, whatever. But if you are important to the team, Mikey Sanders still, building block longer term right now with this Commanders team, which, by the way, it is hard to come up with a list for those guys.
This is the point I'm going to make
Could
in a
be
second
another
here.
segment that we should do.
Yep.
But it doesn't really matter. I mean, everyone in that locker room is putting their career on the line with every single snap. And if there's this healthy guy that they're just saying and treating as more important than the rest of the operation, we all know that he is. That's very different than treating him that way. It was a huge problem when Robert Griffin was here, by the way. When, you're paying for his honeymoon and doing some of the things that the owner was doing, and you're whining and dining him, and he's coming to your house and all these little things. Other players don't like that very much. And it hurt the relationship between him and the other players. So I think Keim's onto something.
So I know that's a thing, but it doesn't enter into the conversation for me at all. I don't care about that even a little bit.
And I know, not to cut you off, because I'm going to tag you in a second, you don't care about this.
Correct.
I've always known that about you.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people may not. And that doesn't change the fact that it matters in the locker room, and
Sure.
it's not fantasy football.
No, I understand that.
Go ahead.
All those guys are gone. Everybody that's pissed off is probably gone. There's a far cry from, again, I'm playing him, so just keep that as the baseline. But there's a far cry from protecting the most important player and paying for his honeymoon. You could maybe sit him for a game or two and not give him ultimate special treatment that's ridiculous, where he and the owner are vacationing together, drinking Mai Tais in Acapulco.
But it's still
right?
just binary with players. Is he one of the guys or not? Is he being treated like one of the dudes or not? And from day one, to Jayden Daniels' credit, the reason that I think he is so beloved is all he ever has tried to be is one of the guys.
Precisely. So he'll handle that. He'll be the one of the guys, or he won't be. Treating the special player like he's special, the same way we joke about it now, where Jimmy Johnson's like, who was he talking about? Michael Irvin or Emmitt Smith? If he falls asleep in the meeting, I'll get him a pillow, like, ha ha ha, it's so funny. Well, they won, so nobody cared because they know where their bread is buttered. To me, you lost your privilege. You lost your right to be mad if you are this terrible with this awful of a season. I understand that's not how things work all the time, and this is a people business like anything else is, but I don't have any stake or time to worry about the feelings of somebody being butthurt who will not be here in the future.
But the majority of the players will. Like, even
I don't know about that.
I mean, they just will, math-wise. Significant turnover in the NFL, and we've seen it, can be 20 to 25 guys. There's 70 players in the building or whatever right now.
That's fair with the practice squad. I think that'll change too, but I think it'll be roughly a coin toss whether you're back here or not. If it's just a random sampling.
Even still, let's say if they have a massive overhaul and half the players are back, that's still a big deal. I think that's one of those things where it sounds great, and I think it will resonate well with fans of the team that are mad that they lose and that players have not won. But like, this is not names that you're sitting or starting on fantasy, and how things go in that locker room matter more than we would want them to.
I understand that. And it's on a manager to look a person in the eye and tell them like it is. It's on them to be a pro. There's a lot of things that still have to happen. For example, I know we're not talking about the Wizards, but last night in crunch time, it's very rare they're in a close game. They were in a close game against a pretty good team last night. No Trey Johnson on the court. No Bub Carrington on the court. No, I'm trying to remember one of the other young guys that wasn't out there. It was a lot of CJ McCollum, a lot of Chris Middleton. A squandered opportunity for a rebuilding team that you had a chance at guys to get close game minutes. Very rarely, usually you're down by 30, and that was squandered. Now, no one's going to care because it's the Wizards. You can roll your eyes and make fun of me, and that's fine. But my point is, it's feeding out of the same trough to me, where someone will call and go, how do you tell Zach Ertz? He gives him the best chance to win. How do you tell him that it's not his job anymore? Very easily. You say, be a pro, do your job. Someone else is going to take the snaps because it's better for us long term. It's feeding out of the same trough. Zach Ertz, I guarantee you, is better than Ben Sinnott at football right now. I don't want Zach Ertz to play. I want Ben Sinnott to play. It's all part of the same thing to me, where if you're rebuilding and you're doing something that's different than what you set out to do because of the failures of the players that are here, you've lost your privilege. Be a pro, stop whining, go to work and do your best, and you're probably auditioning for somewhere else anyhow.
I think there's levels to it for sure. And yeah, there's going to be times where guys are frustrated by things. And even if they are going to be here, it doesn't really matter that much. Like, you're allowed to be annoyed by how we're handling things. That isn't going to be the first time in a team structure. But In the case of, I think this is one of those really deep cutting player dealt with issues like playing or not, resting a guy or not, competing or not. When we're all out here practicing all week and we got a game on Sunday and we're putting our bodies on the line, but we're picking and choosing who's going to go and who isn't based on who we couldn't go to sleep at night if they got hurt. But I'm okay if you get hurt. It's the egos are involved and personalities are involved. And I think Keim's on it, that it would not be a good thing in the locker room. Now, you don't care about
I think he's right.
Right.
But it's something that won't enter my consideration.
But just generally speaking, I would say you care way less about the well-being of the locker room and the personality and the psyche as a fan on the outside, clearly, than they have to. And yeah, if you could manage this whole thing just like a fantasy team with names on a board, you don't have to worry about the locker room. But that's a very real thing. That's your culture. That doesn't just change, and everyone doesn't just change their mindset when they show back up in May. Like, some of these things lead to scars.